It is now preparing to go to live stream. I will give you the thumbs up any minute now. There you go.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now let me press. I'm going to record as well. Record to the fantastic. Well, welcome everybody for our second session for Veganuary, in support of Shabir, who is going vegan for Gaza. So this is a session for people who haven't attended, which is organised by Vegan Greens, Muslim Greens, and Greens for Palestine. And the idea is that we all become a lot more thoughtful about how we're eating. And it's a chance to educate ourselves on veganism, as well as alternative dietary ways, which are more sustainable and more thoughtful. So I want to welcome everybody. Oh, let's admit Arcia. I want to welcome everyone to the second session, and I hope whoever is doing Veganuary, you're having a good time. I have had a difficult week, but I think not as bad as the first week. So my family are getting used to it, which is great. So today we are going to be, we are going to be having an amazing guest speaker in Noreen Hamid, and she is a nutritionist, and she's going to be giving us advice on what is really important nutritionally, in terms of what we should be eating, giving us some ideas, and also looking at, from an Islamic perspective, the idea around food and what we're consuming. And we're going to open the floor to questions. So if anybody does have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll be collating those questions and putting them to our speaker. And then we're going to have a collection of photos from the week, which everybody on the Veganuary chat has been sharing. Now, this week we've had over 50 pictures, so it's great. We've got loads of wonderful ideas. And then we're going to have a quick look. The reason why we're here is to raise money for Swan, which is a charity based partly in Gaza, who are doing a lot of work on the ground. And we're going to be watching a video from them. And then we're going to have a look at Shabir's total. So I really want everybody to donate if they haven't this week, because Shabir has done so well, and his wife's done even better. So Noreen, let me just go to the, yeah. If Noreen, over to you. Do you want to share your presentation? I'll stop sharing mine.
Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Peace to everyone. So I have got something prepared, but it will be mainly me talking, I think. Just a little background about myself. So in terms of my vegan journey, from as far back as I can remember, I think I was about 4 years old when I discovered what I was eating. And up until then, I was having everything my mum put in my mouth, basically, apart from milk. My mum said as soon as she stopped breastfeeding me, I refused milk. So there was something inside me already. I was the sensitive one of the family. That's what I was called. So as soon as I found out what I was eating, and that happened when I went to Pakistan when I was 4, and my uncle, well, I don't want to go into too much detail to upset people, but he slaughtered a chicken in front of me, and I went a bit crazy. So I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he laughed and said, "This is what you eat. This is what you were eating every day." So I actually stopped, and my parents were, I think they found it really, really hard with coming from a meat-eating family, even though they didn't grow up eating that much meat, really. So it was a struggle throughout the years to get me to, and sometimes I was forced as well. From the age of 13, I stopped having meat totally, but I did have eggs. I didn't, and cheese. I still love cheese. There's just something about cheese, but it was only until 2017 that I actually heard about, maybe I was a bit sleepyhead, I don't know, but I had a friend who was a vegan, and she started talking to me about it and about the practices within the dairy industry. So it got me thinking, and I went fully vegan My family did as well. I didn't force them. I asked them who wants to. So, sorry, I don't want to spend too much time about my story, but basically, for 5 years, I was an absolute strict vegan. Then I did fall off the bandwagon. I started eating eggs again. So it was really nice when Farha contacted me because it's got me. I was thinking prior to this that I'm gonna, not for veganuary, but I think I thrived better on a vegan diet. And now that I am a nutritionist, which I wasn't before, I know so much more. So it was 2017 when I decided to become vegan, and I was relying on a lot of store-bought products, which aren't necessarily great for you. So I have a lot more knowledge on how to support vegan nutrition, and that's part of my job as well, where I have clients who need help in knowing, how to just have a balanced vegan diet. And let me start to share screen. Sorry, forgot about that part. But the good things that came out of the vegan. All right, let's see. Hope this works. Can we see?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah,
You just,
it's not a great presentation. Okay.
I'm sure it's fine. Change it to slide mode if you have, or is this PDF? I'm not sure.
I think it's a PDF. Sorry, I can't do this. I'm not very techy, and I couldn't see last night. My eyesight's really bad, so I'm just gonna have to scroll through it. So, welcome. Anyway, before I those 5 years of being vegan, it was really, really good for my family actually, because what did happen was we went from a family of eating meat almost daily, and especially my husband, and this is not me, because I was vegetarian, my husband would have to have meat every single day. So now it's like 2 weeks can go past, and he's not vegan, but I take the positives from every situation, and our meat consumption as a family reduced quite significantly. So every 2 weeks he'll get a meat dish. But then the other good thing, which is really good for me, is he started to cook because I refused to cook meat. And I was called a lot of names, very selfish and this and that. But I think it worked out because he's actually a really good cook. And he also cooks a vegan meal for me as well. So, yeah. Okay, so welcome everyone. I love this group, and thank you for, involving me in this. I love the fact that we've all come together. We all might have very different reasons, but we've all come together for one purpose really. And well done to everyone who's on this journey. It's not easy for people, but it can get easier with the right information. So these are just a few. They're old pictures. This is obviously a summer picture. This is a very nice filling salad and a hummus that I made. And this is a warm salad with tofu and lots of greens in there. So let's forward to, I should have done slideshow. Okay, so this is a quote from the Quran. And I haven't cited the verses or anything, but I suppose you could Google it. Eat from the earth what is halal and tayyib. And I think as Muslims, I've spoken to many, many, many people. It's all about halal. So if there's a halal sign somewhere, and there's kind of like a meat fest going on. So it's halal. What does that mean? It just means it's permissible for you. It's lawful. And one of the things I get at family functions, if it's family functions, I laugh now. I'm not offended at all because I'm growing up and, I'm reaching a certain age where I don't give up anymore. So anyway, I get the whole, there's an uncle and he'll, Beta, why don't you eat meat? You should eat meat. It's really good for you. It's good for your health. This, that. So no, I just smile and I don't argue. I've done the arguing, and I think you have to know when someone doesn't want to hear. So I just smile and I offer him my vegetarian dish, which he very happily consumes as well. So, so halal, which is permissible, lawful. Yes, it's permissible for Muslims and it's lawful for them to eat, but it's not compulsory. The other word that is mentioned is dayib. Now, the word dayib means it should be wholesome, it's pure, and I've spelled pure wrong, apologies. Fire. So pure and clean. And what does that actually mean? It doesn't mean that it's clean, that it's been washed. It means the animal should have been raised on a natural diet, a natural environment to the diet, to the animal. So, there's this whole concept these days with meat eaters that, oh yeah, I get grass-fed. I saw some videos recently about grass-fed farming where the animals are still in their little tight cubby holes and they're just being a machine is going past and just dropping grass into their little, and there's people paying a lot of money for this and they're thinking they're getting an animal that was had a bit of a happy life at least before it ended up on their plate, but it's not the case. Most of the animals are not fed grass, even so they're usually given corn and maize, and that's GMO. So just think that whatever they're consuming, it's going into the animal, and then you're consuming that. So, and then not just that, they're injected growth hormones, antibiotics, water as well. So, for example, chickens are they can be a baby chicken to an adult chicken within a few weeks, which is not natural. And I know that firsthand because my father, he's no longer in this world, bless him. He was in the meat industry for a while, and my husband once, it's quite a long time ago, about 10, 15 years ago, my husband bought home an organic chicken, and I was cooking and feeling sick. The reason why I felt even more sick was because it was taking forever to cook. And I rang up my dad. I said, I think he's brought home a dodgy piece of meat here. And he said, no, Noreen, that's actually the real meat. He said that the chickens that we have in, what most people have, they are grown within 3 weeks and they're injected with water. So what you've got is the real deal. But anyway, he never bought it again. So yeah. Then we go on to the practices that are in the dairy and the meat industry. So, for example, I think, and I was also of this thinking before, where I thought that eggs were fine, but the dairy industry and the meat industry are literally one. Debeaking of the chicks so that they don't peck each other. Also, I think maybe a lot of you know about this already, but the male chicks are quite useless to the industry, so they're discarded and made into food products as well. So, and that's not very nice either. And cows dehorned as well. Cows are supposed to have horns, I believe, and they're dehorned as well, so that they don't, knock each other around. I mean, we could go into a lot of things here, but I think I want to just say that a lot of people, when they're consuming halal, it's not tayyib, so that's something to think about. And it's when an animal is confined to, an unnatural lifestyle, it's going to be unhealthy. And if you are consuming that animal, you're unhealthy as well. As a nutritionist, I see many, many clients with hormone imbalances. So from girls who are starting their periods at 7 years old. That wasn't the case even I think 10, 15 years ago. That was like, what? But now it's the norm. I've got a few clients, 8 years old, 7 years old, starting their periods. Why? And whenever I look into their food history, there's a lot of consumption of meat, daily meat, especially chicken, which, the growth hormones. Then also if they're given antibiotics, their gut flora is not going to be right. That's going to go into you as well. And the gut is everything in terms of health. Yeah, antibiotics, I've covered that. So yeah, just thinking about what you're consuming, is it actually pure and clean and beneficial to us? Right. Have I just, yeah. There were actually some other things which I had read, but I didn't put them onto the slideshow, where a companion of the Prophet, Umar, he once said that beware of meat, for within meat there is an addiction, which I do think is the case with a lot of the people that I have seen. And also in the Quran, there's a verse, sorry, I couldn't get it because I was working yesterday. It's about humans being the guardians of the earth. So that doesn't, so to be a guardian, you have to look after every living thing. And, you know, our relationship with our environment is so important, as you all know, you know, without, you know, trees and, you know, a healthy environment, we're not going to survive either. And I think there's an old proverb from, you know, a Native American one, which I really like, and it might not, it's something along the lines of, okay, it's gone. It's something along the lines of, man will only realize after every fish or every animal or every tree has been cut down that he cannot eat paper. And I haven't explained that very well, but I hope you're understanding this. Okay, so vegan nutrition. So the benefits, a lot of studies have been done, and lower risk of cancer, lowers LDL cholesterol, regulates high blood pressure, immune health, blood sugar management. A lot of diabetics in our community. I'm type 2 diabetic myself as well. And I have personally seen that when I was very strict on the vegan lifestyle, that my blood sugars were much better. Support immune health, mental health. Studies have shown that 70% or more of your immune system is in your gut. So, and also studies have also shown that certain hormones like serotonin are formed in the gut as well. So having a good, healthy gut microbiome is very essential. And a vegan diet, when I say vegan diet, a healthy vegan diet, not Linda McCartney's vegan sausages diet. I'm not judging her because I do eat them sometimes because they taste nice. But, you know, we can only try our best to, you know, follow this lifestyle. And sometimes we will buy packaged food because, you know, time, tired, whatever. But if the majority of the time we're having natural foods, it's much cheaper, it's better for the environment, and it's better for us. It just requires a little planning sometimes. So mental health, it's a healthy gut, I just mentioned. Weight management, there's a lot of obesity around these days, and hormone health. There's amongst my nutrition community, there's a big thing about the menopause. The menopause has become quite a scary thing for people now, and it doesn't have to be, because if you're looking after your gut, you're looking after your liver. Our hormones, they need to be metabolized and eliminated, and having a healthy gut and liver is going to support that as well. Right. Environment. I think we know about this. So the benefits of having, if more people were vegan, land usage, reduce greenhouse emissions. Recently, they've started to talk about injecting the cows so that they reduce their emissions rather than look at lifestyle and reducing, you know, people's diet, you know, having a balance with our diet. They've started to inject the cows, and that's going to be another whammy in terms of health for us. Water usage, you know, the amount of water that's used to look after these animals, the whole process. On a vegan diet, you'd be using much less. and plastic waste. A lot of these things come in plastic and unsustainable packaging, like foam. I think they're made of, are they made of polystyrene ones in the supermarkets where they put the meat? So yeah, looking at environment as well. Now how can we these are kind of some ideas for us to help reduce, be more sustainable as a vegan. And, it's not very much different from sustainability in general. So if you're going to get your big bags of lentils, it's much more cost effective, less packaging as well. If you're lucky enough to have those, markets or shops where you can refill, you take your container and you get your lentils or beans, that would be a good idea. So, although they are quite expensive, which I understand. Also, just clubbing together, the whole thing about community. We have lost community at the moment. There doesn't, and I like this group because we're from different different walks of life. We have different agendas maybe, but we've come together for one purpose, and that's lovely to see. And so, going back to community again, if you do have some friends living locally, you could purchase in bulk and share it out between yourselves, and you'd be sorted for a long time. It's much more cheaper. So I was seeing on the group the use of corn mints and things like that. And again, I'm not judging anyone here, but a more cheaper, sustainable, and a healthy option would to be using brown lentils. So if you're making a spaghetti bolognese, something like that, so you could use brown lentils, and just your basic tomato sauce would remain the same. You add your herbs, you add your spices, but you're using boiled lentils instead, and that's so much more nutritious as well, because you're getting all those B vitamins, and it's going to help your gut as well. So purchasing a veg box. I haven't looked into the best ones, but I know that there's Oddbox. I saw people on the group with that. It's crowd farming, and crowd farming, they give rather large portions, so it'd be a good idea to club together with someone if it's too expensive, and just share weekly or every other week. Also, I've done this in the past, and I don't know, I haven't done this recently, but not the purchasing from allotments. Some people who have very, very large allotments, and they're quite happy to give you some of their produce, and they won't charge you much either. So I remember buying some very nice. So if you do have a local allotment, maybe go along, say hello, and ask them, would you sell me some? So you don't have to buy the whole lot. Growing your own. I'm not going to go into this because that's Asia's for next week, but it can be very simple, and you don't need to have that much knowledge to have your own produce. It would be good if you did have the knowledge, because it would help. But I've always had a vegetable patch since my kiddies were very, very small, so over 20 years. You can just grow very simple things like radish, and it's not about relying totally on growing your own. It'd be nice if you could, but let's face it, we don't all have the time to do things like that. But even things like sprouting, and if you don't have a garden or an allotment, if you've got a windowsill or just a light space in your kitchen, sprouting is very, very beneficial. Really, really good for your health, because it's got all of those enzymes and lots of minerals to help. And you can sprout anything. I sprout mung beans. I sometimes sprout lentils, and sometimes fenugreek as well. And fenugreek is excellent for your liver. Okay, looking for offers on veg. Oh, sorry. Big bags of quinoa. Quinoa is a very, it's a grain, and well, it's not actually a grain. It looks like a grain. It's a seed, so it's a complete protein actually. So it's a really, really good source for a vegan lifestyle, and it contains lots of amino acids. It's also a good source of protein. I've said that already, and it helps you to feel full. So a lot of the times when people are eating maybe vegetables or raw salads and stuff, adding some quinoa will bulk it up a bit and make you feel a little more sustained, definitely more sustained. So, so look for things like that as well. Okay, so this is actually my last slide. I did want to do more, but I didn't get to do all the slides, so apologies for that. But this is just a list. If you want to screenshot it, it's something I hand out to my clients who are more on a vegetarian or a vegan diet. So these are just the numbers for protein per 100 grams, and spirulina. I think I think it was Prashant who said he has this. I can't remember. Somebody said that on the group. Oh, yeah, he's got it. He's waving it around. Well done. Yeah, I mean, finding a way to incorporate it into a smoothie, into a soup, into, your chia puddings even. They'll look green, but it's a really healthy sauce and it's really good for your gut. Chlorella, again, that's kind of like a green something. Hemp seeds are easy. Keep hemp seeds around. Sprouted ones are even better, more nutrition. Chia seeds and almonds, and you can read the rest. The other thing I wanted to talk about was calcium. I know that when people go on to a lifestyle change, other people find it more difficult sometimes than them, because they want to point out, well, where are you going to get your protein from? Where are you going to get your calcium from? And I had all these questions as well, because everybody becomes very concerned about your welfare all of a sudden because you've decided to make a healthy choice for yourself. So calcium is the big one. Where I originate, and I know in India and Pakistan it's very much a similar thought, is milk is everything. It's like milk. Your child doesn't eat milk. As long as they're getting their milk, it's fine. And we know that it's not very good, especially cow's milk, because it's very different from human milk. It's harder to digest. Plus, it's got all of those antibiotics and other things hanging around. So not great. And it's very inflammatory as well. So a lot of people with inflammatory conditions, dairy is not great for them. But so people will wonder where to get your calcium from. And actually, you can get a lot of calcium from other sources. And I'm just going to mention a few. So your greens, things like turnip greens, mustard greens, really high in calcium. Almonds, brilliant source of calcium. Parsley is, it's all about enriching your meal. So when I have a meal, I kind of let's look at it. If I'm making a salad, for example, having lots of different varieties, even if it's a different, like instead of having one variety of tomato, if you add a few, that's kind of like more plant points, and it gives you a more diverse environment in your gut. So adding parsley and herbs to your meals, your salads, very mineral rich. It's about, I'm always thinking at cellular level, like how can I make this more nutritional? So for example, when I have my favorite food of all time, which is avocado on toast, I will put some grey Celtic salt on it. So that's my minerals from there. I put some olive oil, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, and you could go with your herbs, anything you want, just to think, how can I enrich this even more? Dandelion greens. Nobody likes dandelions in the UK. They're weeds. And I wonder who invented, why did they become weeds? Because dandelions, every single part of the dandelion has a benefit. And I believe that God has provided all of our cures within nature. But there we go. Oh, I don't like the look of that yellow thing popping up in my rose bed. So the root is brilliant for the liver, the leaves, your kidney, and dandelion, the flowers are good as well. It's just all really good for your liver and detoxing as well. So, and just having dandelion greens in, you can make it up add it at the end of a curry or put it into your salad. It is a bitter taste, but our ancestors knew the bitter taste, and we need the bitter taste to help our livers. We've lost the bitter taste, because even the bitter taste in, say, your rocket from the supermarket, they've kind of played around with it to make it taste a bit more palatable for people. So again, going back to grow your own is a really good idea, and herbs are quite easy to grow even if you don't have much space on a windowsill. And I know Asia will talk about that probably next week. Brazil nuts, brilliant source of calcium as well. And what else should I talk about? So we talked about protein, calcium. That's the end of my presentation. I'm very happy to take any questions, and I hope I'll be able to answer them. So I'll hand it over to.
So
I will stop my slideshow.
I think we've got 3 questions.
Okay.
First question is from Simon. He says, being basically disabled, I don't have the strength to collect the ingredients. I've been veggie for 40 odd years and I need supplements. How can I balance and create easy, ethical, environmental food? I think you've covered some of that.
Yeah, no, very good question. And actually that is something I was going to talk about, that we don't all have the time. That's very true. I am trying to create some recipes, and I've been a bit slow, and I will try and get them onto the list to have easier access, not access, sorry, easier recipes that don't take too long in terms of prep, and also that are not very, very expensive. When Simon says he finds it difficult to collect the items, what do you mean by that? Like they're not available in your area? What type of things are we talking about? Is he able to respond on here?
I've asked Anthony to unmute so he can ask.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an issue of physically going and getting it. I'm using a large number of delivery vans at the moment, to my chagrin, but the cost is really quite high. I mean,
Yeah.
I get out of breath moving from one chair to another. Nobody quite knows why. Yeah. But it's quite ludicrous how rapidly tired I get. I wonder how much of that could be down to lack of vitamin B stuff, the things that come from meat. I take a lot of dairy because I like it, and that's much easier to get than things. I posted a pretty picture of my loaf. I'll make another one today with lots of nuts in, but I can't see what else I can do, I think is basically my question, in a sort of a simple way. I've tried things like boxes of pre-prepared stuff, and I haven't got the strength to do that either, which is irritating.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's difficult. Have you had any tests to, I don't want to go into your, we haven't got time to go into your case, but have you had tests to see what the reason behind why you're feeling so breathless?
Well, yes and no. Lots of tests. I mean, they found thyroid cancer and took the thyroid out, but that had no effect on my various symptoms.
Right.
Basically, it's long COVID, so nobody's got a clue.
Okay. Right. Okay. What I'll do is I'm going to post a link to something on the group. Are you on the WhatsApp group?
Might be. Yeah.
So there's something called tissue salts, which are like minerals in a pill, and they're very easily absorbed. So if you've got not a very good gut, it will go directly into your bloodstream, and they may help. But maybe consider, I know cheese is easier to get, but it's highly inflammatory. So maybe try 1 week or a few days without it and see if that makes any difference. But I will try and post some easier things, and I will take into account what you said, but I'll put it onto the group. I mean, are you able to do things like tray bakes and put everything in there? Or is that
I've got an air fryer machine,
okay?
which
Right.
I think counts as a tray bake.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, so I think it's just adding lots of veg and tofu or if you can get pulses, I know it's time consuming to have soak your pulses and cook them, but you could get pre-boiled ones in jars. They also come in tins as well, which is cheaper, but not always a healthier choice. But if that's something that would get you eating more lentils, that might be an option for you and not too expensive. But I do understand this, and I will try and put some posts up this week on the group that can help, that are cost effective and not so hard to do. Is that okay, Simon?
Thank you. Yes, I, I know about this group through a Green Party WhatsApp group. I don't know if that's this one that you
Okay.
talked about.
All right.
Maybe Prashant, if you could get Simon's number and then we
Yeah. Yeah,
add him to the
that's
vegan
fine.
group if he'd like to be, and then we can share it with him on there.
Or you could pass my number on. I'm happy to chat as well.
Just quickly, just from a clinical perspective, Simon, and this is just, my personal perspective. My dad had very similar symptoms to yourself, and they couldn't really find anything. And to be honest with you, what actually, then he started fainting, and essentially his iron was getting lower and lower and lower, but it hadn't yet reached a threshold for the NHS to actually do anything about it. And then once he had a blood transfusion and iron transfusion, he's so much better. It's like 360. Yeah, I mean 180, should I say. He's not breathless anymore and he can move around now. So it may be that that they're just sort of sitting on it until it gets bad enough that they have to do something. So just keep an eye on that, just from a clinical perspective.
Yeah.
I've got a phone meeting with a pharmacist tomorrow. I shall pass this on. I had B12 and ferritin injections when I lived in Sydney, and they were remarkably helpful. But that was before long COVID. I had lucky old me. I had ME as well. So I've got a long history of this sort of debilitation. But every so often I get wildly better. I was marvellous this morning, in fact, until I got up. But there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry,
You're on mute.
yeah. Second question's from PK. What are your thoughts on soy and pea protein isolate, i.e. protein powder?
Okay. I think I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to protein powders. I think some are cleaner than others. So, Prashant, I can look into one that might be cleaner. In terms of soy, I would say if you are having soy, have organic soy. So because a lot of soy is genetically modified and no good for us. But if you're having especially organic fermented soy, that is really good for your health. And yeah, so the protein, I'm not a fan personally of protein powders, but I know a lot of nutritionists do use them. Another alternative could be hemp powder as well, because it's probably not as high in protein as your protein powder, but it's more, I'm all about, feeding the gut and assimilating, because sometimes these things can cause problems with the gut for some people as well. So it's quite individual. And I know it's a big thing, especially amongst young people who go to the gym as well, who want to, I have a 20-year-old boy, he's a man actually now, all of his gym mates are talking about bulking up, and there's a lot of, oh, you should have whey protein, this protein, and a lot of them are not clean ingredients. So I'm all about having cleaner ingredients, but hemp powder, and you could also add other sources to bulk, to make up that protein. And I think there is a big protein is very, very important. But let's not forget the other things that we need, like our healthy fats and our healthy carbohydrates, and fiber. Fiber is very, very important for everything, really. So yeah, thank you for that question. I will note it down and look into one for you. Yeah.
We've got
Is
a
that
couple
okay?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's super. So there are a couple of questions from Sarah, which are great questions. I've bought some blackstrap molasses because it's high in minerals, for example, iron and calcium.
Yeah.
What can I use it in? All recipes I've found are for biscuits or sweet things. And her second question is, what are your thoughts on alternative milks, making your own versus buying pre-made, which are fortified?
Right. So blackstrap molasses, they are a really good source of minerals. That's very true. And I think they're quite high in iron as well. I've never actually used them, and I don't know. I suppose you could add it to, if you have any dairy-free yogurt, you could add it to that, or to add it to your smoothies if you're a smoothie person. Um, we could try and look at recipes. I don't know what it tastes like, to be honest. And I know it's a big thing. Really, it's really good for iron as well. But maybe, making an almond, uh, an almond base and using it as a tart and mixing it with the dates or almonds, something like that. That's just something that's just come off the top of my head, but it's something I can look into because I've never actually had them. But smoothies for now. Smoothies or your porridge, if you're a porridge person, Sarah. Sorry, it was Sarah. And then plant-based milks. So plant-based milks, I like Plenish, and please don't tell me it's on the list because I don't know about that if it is. Alpro, I'm not a fan of because if you look at the ingredients, there's a lot of thickeners, there's all sorts of emulsifiers, oils, so it's quite pro-inflammatory. We don't all have time to make our own plant-based milk, but it is quite easy to do if you do it for like 2 days or something like that, where you just soak. If it's almond milk that you're doing, soak your almonds for at least 12 hours and then blitz them up and put them through a strainer. I think there are some machines out there that do this for you as well. But I have made almond milk, and yeah, it is a bit of a faff got to putting it through the muslin cloth, but I'm so see how you go with it. Oats, I don't tend to recommend oat milk, even though people like oat milk the most because it's really can spike your sugar. Now, that's not a problem for everyone, but a lot of my clients are diabetic, so I usually say avoid the oat milk. And if you are using oats, make sure that they're organic as well. Yeah, but Plenish is the brand that I use, and if anyone, if anyone knows, I haven't checked if that's on the boycott list or not. But I like Plenish because it's probably only got 2 to 3 ingredients. It's really quite natural. So, okay.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. Somebody has written, PR has written, I use molasses instead of Nutella. So in porridge, tea, coffee, usually in sweet dishes called handesh. I'm just thinking, I mean, molasses also, like certainly in Turkish cuisine, they use it as a dressing on salads and things like this. I don't know what black strap molasses tastes like, but if it's got the sweetness, then maybe it would work as a salad dressing as well.
Good idea. That's a good idea as well. I mean, I suppose I'm just trying to randomly think off the top of my head. If it was blitzed up and then mixed or cooked with some chia, it could be a jam. I'll have to sit down and it would make it more balanced as well because it is quite high in sugar as well. But obviously, you're not going to have tons of it. You're only going to have little. But you could, I'm a bit of an experimenter, so maybe I'll have a little experiment, and that's my pharmacy background probably, which goes back to experimentation, and I do that a lot with my food as well. So maybe look into making a chia jam because then that will add fats to it. It will be a more balanced thing. So where your sugar is going to get with the blackstrap molasses alone, the chia will help to kind of level that out. Yeah, but something for me to think about as well.
That's interesting. Any other questions, Prashant?
None that I can see, but AC has. So I think when the three of us were chatting and we were planning the session, sorry, four of us, including Asia, there was this question about which I think there's something that Noreen said, which I think was amazing. Um, we were talking about the cost of plant-based food to be, quite high, but she said that, we should actually be questioning why meat and dairy and poultry
Yes.
is so much cheaper, and we should not be asking the question as to why, vegan foods are much more expensive. So Nori, if you could like talk a bit about that. I know we have AC from the Vegan Society, who's also a Green Party member, and they're extremely knowledgeable about the state of the industry. I would love for you both to shed a little bit of light on this particular subject.
Yes, thank you for reminding me, actually. Yes, I mean, that's a very important point because a lot of the times when a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet even is discussed, oh, well, I can't afford that. And yeah, why is meat so cheap? And I know a lot of people will just buy lots and lots of meat because it's cheap. But as we discussed before, I mean, it's the whole process, the mass production, it's the factory farming, and it's not good for us at the end of the day. It might just, I think people are very concerned with having protein. There's quite an obsession, I think, and then people forget everything else. It's just, I need my protein, I need my protein. But no, you need other things as well. You need minerals. And saying that, a vegan diet doesn't have to be expensive. It can be something as simple as, like I said, the simplest thing. Even tomato, I've done tomatoes on toast. Okay, just a tomato alone is not great. But if you manage to purchase bigger bags of things like hemp or pumpkin seeds, they're not that expensive. They might be, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound like, even if you do that one thing, I think it's about doing one thing per week or every other week. We don't have to do that massive vegan haul shop because that is expensive. But if you were to just buy, say, a bag of sweet potatoes from the supermarket or from your local greengrocers and or a bag of carrots, soups are a brilliant way to get nutrition in. Soups are absolutely brilliant. They're easy to do. If you can't, don't have the time or the energy for investing in a simple soup maker, but there are sometimes you can make up soups for, say, 2 to 3 days, or you can freeze it and take it out and have it another time. So a vegan diet doesn't have to be expensive, I think. And I think if you just sometimes we're very hard on ourselves as well. We can't do everything at one time. Introduce a new thing every week or every couple of weeks. Make a plan of budgeting. When am I going to buy this? Maybe once a month. Okay, this month I'm going to buy pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are a brilliant source of protein. They're also really high in magnesium and zinc and potassium. So they're a really good source. If you get, you can sometimes buy big bags, I think, and make that last probably 2 months because you're not going to eat the whole bag. It's a sprinkling. It's just about adding something to your base to make it more nutritious. I think I've gone off topic, haven't I, Prashant?
Should we hear from AC now? 'Cause
Yes.
she's posting so many amazing things in the yeah, there's loads of links in the chat for anybody who's looking. I hope everyone's looking. AC, would you like to come in here?
Thank you for letting me. Yes. So yes, I work for the Vegan Society for nearly 18 years now. So yes, there. To the original question, there's a huge amount of subsidies for the industrial scale farming of animals, and a lot of funding of research on farming animals, and nothing to compare to that into developing more legume varieties and subsidizing farmers who grow pulses. So that is a big systematic problem, and that's one of the areas that I actually do work in. We collaborate around the world with people trying to shift those subsidy systems towards plant-based farming for the benefit of free living animals, the farmers themselves, us as people looking to buy affordable, locally grown, vegan-friendly diets, and also, of course, because of all the suffering that industrial scale farming of animals causes, both to the people and to the animals involved. So, anyone who wants to talk to me about those things, I'm on the WhatsApp, and I'm always happy to hear questions about that. And this is a big area of work for the Vegan Society. Yeah, we focus a lot on protein in that work, because that's the question that always comes into people's minds is, how do I get enough healthy protein? And actually, it's very doable on a completely vegan and whole food centered diet, but obviously sometimes having familiar foods to try when you're changing your diet is very helpful, which I think is where the pre-made burgers and vegan nuggets and all of these things, we're never going to say, if those are what helps you to feed your family and learn about while you're learning other ways, then by all means they're very useful. But obviously, I mean, me myself, I'm in a position now. I have a wonderful local halal supermarket, actually, where we get very good selections of pulses and things. So yeah, we have lots of advice on the Vegan Society website. And I think the most important thing that I've posted in the chat, which Prashant has been sharing, is that we do have 2 registered dietitians on the team. So anyone who has specifically health challenges, either yourself or a member of your family, and you're struggling to get the support you need from your own family doctor, I mean, you should be able to access a registered dietitian on the National Health Service in England or other parts of the UK they should all be trained in vegan and plant-based nutrition, but obviously that varies in reality. And so the nutrition team, nutrition at vegansociety.com, will help individual people who are, not getting that support they need. So please do reach out if they can be of any assistance. And thank you very much, everyone. This is such a wonderful group, as we've been saying, such a wonderful project. And thank you, Uncle Shabir, for leading this. And I'll hand back over to the team.
Thank you so much, AC, for sharing that. There's so many amazing resources that you've shared with us. And if you can, just keep sharing them on the group, because it's really helpful for everybody like myself who's totally new to this and is just trying to find their way through. Right. So I think we've done our questions, which is great. So I don't know if everybody can still see that. Can everyone still see my page? We've had loads of amazing food pictures, and this is my favorite bit of seeing what everybody's been cooking. And I think this is Sarah Joe. This is your amazing collection of foods. I can't remember who made this, but it is beautiful. I think somebody's doing family cooking there. Did plant-based burgers. There's someone's brilliant vegan breakfast. There's my husband's shepherd's pie made from corn. And this is the katsu meal. I think it was really funny. I had a breakthrough this week. I was telling Prashant and the others when my son, he said, "Mom, I've had enough. I've absolutely had enough. I don't want any of these fake meats. I'm fed up of tofu. It's horrible. Just make normal vegetarian Indian food. It's so much tastier." And when he said I had enough, I really thought he was going to say, "Give me meat." But the fact that he didn't say give me meat, he said make normal vegetarian Indian food. I thought, wow, I've actually we've made it through. If we got through to a teenage boy, then who loves his meat, then that's great. Shabir's meals always look absolutely delicious as well. So well done there. Lovely dessert. That's what I'm missing actually. Some nice double cream. I'm so bad. The dairy is what I'm really missing more than anything. It's strange, more than the meat. It's yummy foods. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because I'm aware of time. But honestly, this week's pictures have been great. They've really been tasty looking. Everything's been delicious. And thank you for everybody who's been sharing them. It's really great to get ideas of what to cook from all of you. So particularly breakfast. They're really amazing breakfasts that everybody's been sharing on that group. If anybody's not part of the group, Prashant, would you be able to maybe share a WhatsApp link to join the group? Possibly, is that doable?
Let me do that right away. Just give me 30 seconds.
This is pasta sauce, yummy curries, lots of vegan masala chai, which we all love, and yummy marinated tofu and broths, lots of broths. And we're back to the beginning again. And that was a really, really whistle-stop tour of this week's food. So now for the big thing. Shabir, you're going to have to unmute yourself and tell us how your week has been. Uncle Shabir, are you still there? Or are you in a vegan sleep? Where are you? He's gone. He's disappeared. He's given up. Oh, we have to unmute him. That's why. We have to unmute him. Shabir?
Yeah, okay. Now, hopefully you can hear me.
How's the week been?
Yeah, the week's been fine. We're just going through a spell of endless family gatherings for all sorts of reasons. Another one today. The good thing is it has become a bit more normal to have some sort of vegetables within that. So there is options, which is great. Generally, I have actually been doing a little bit of vegan shopping. My son bought me some tofu. I've not used it yet because I don't know what to do with it, but there's lots of recipes on here, so I'll train somebody how to cook tofu. I won't do it myself, obviously that's not allowed. I've told you I'm not allowed in the kitchen. But no, generally it's good. And within our diet, although we do eat a lot of meat, there is also a lot of vegetables and a lot of dal and stuff. So actually, it's not a mammoth task as I first imagined it might be. But like you, the bit that's hard is the dairy, because I did drink a lot of milk with milky tea. I ate a lot of yogurt and stuff like that. And the curry that you made, that we have that. We did have that once or twice a week. It's a really popular thing with us, curry and pakora. So it's those sorts of things which there are alternatives for. You put one on which look really good, so we might have a go at that with the coconut yogurt instead of the dairy yogurt. But generally, yeah, good. And the good thing is the message is getting out there. So I went to somebody else's house for a gathering, and he said, "Oh, I'd heard about your challenge," so he made sure there's a vegetarian option as well, which is fantastic.
That's so lovely. That's really, really good. Yeah. Well, we need to remember as to why it is that why you're doing this, which is amazing what you're doing. So I'm gonna quickly share a video. Let me see there. I don't know if everybody can see that. Can you see that? Let's double click. Can everyone see that? And we'll press play. Wait a second. Oh, can you hear it? Sorry, could you hear that or not? You could, no, you couldn't hear it. Wait a second, let's go back. So I think when I shared it, I didn't share being able to hear share sound. Okay. Optimize, that's perfect. Okay.
The children in Gaza are really struggling. Because of the genocide, they don't have enough food to eat. If you donate to Uncle Shabir's campaign, they can get their meals from SWAT. Can you help them? Please donate today.
Stop sharing. Right, so we need to go to our grand total for this week. And I can't remember what it was last week. Do you remember what it was, Shabir? Oh, I can't hear you. Can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself. Can I hear you? I don't know how much it was. Prashant, do you remember?
I think last week was about 1100, and this weekend I checked.
Oh, don't say it. Don't
sorry,
say it.
Yeah.
So drum roll. You're gonna have to do a drum roll. So this week's is it's just a little bit more. So we're at 1,308. So things have really slowed down with the fundraising, but still it's on an upward trajectory, which is good. And hopefully even this amount, it will be able to help people and it will go a long way. So well done, Shabir, for all that you're doing. I think that's really, really fantastic. And I think on our group, if anybody's got ideas of how to make this go a little bit further, get the message out to more people, maybe it might mean that we encourage others to try being vegan for a week or a few days and get some individual sponsorship using Shabir's link. That would be great. Shabir, I don't know, you've got like 15 grandkids. Can't you get them to do it? Bet they get them to be vegan for 3 days with you, and they can collect money from all their friends at school. And we could do that with our kids and our family members as well. Giving this one link, maybe that's an idea. Um, yeah. So many people are already supporting Palestine, so let's be proud. Yeah, Shabira, you've done really, really, really well, honestly, and to be doing this well, it's fantastic. Oh, he can't unmute himself. Prashant, would you be able to unmute Shabir?
Yeah. Okay. I think we have gone past the 1,400 mark. I've got some cash that people are giving me, people who can't get onto the link for whatever reason. So I've got a bit of money as well. But yeah, it has slowed down. We do need to up the ante a little bit. Some of these videos from Swan, I think we need to put them on the groups rather than me, because I think people genuinely need to see where the money is going. There's a lot of cynicism at the moment around, and there are a lot of scams around, as you know. I've made the point that it's a very well-known, well-established charity who have a 100% donation policy, and it's those sorts of things that we need to emphasize so that people understand that the money is going to get there. Because rightly, there's a lot of people collecting for things where only a very small proportion of the money gets to where it's intended.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. I think that maybe that's something for me to focus on this week. I want to thank everybody, especially Noreen, for taking the time to educate us on nutrition, and thank Shabir for all the time that he's putting in and his family as well, and Prashant too, and Equa for setting up this meeting. I really appreciate that. And next week we have something very exciting, as Noreen had explained. We will be having a video from Arcia from her allotment, where she will be asking her colleagues at the end allotment some interesting questions. I'm hoping maybe we might have some recipes that come out of that, which we could have videos of to play. And I believe, Prashant, you could probably tell us about your guest who you have invited to give us a little talk.
All right, thanks, Farah. So next week we've got Jordi Kasamajana, who's going to be joining us. For those of you who don't know Jordi, he is the person who worked with the Vegan Society to essentially get veganism classified as a philosophical belief. So it's so anyone who's vegan, in the real ethical sense, is protected under law for following their beliefs under veganism. So he's an amazing person. He's written a book. It's called Ethical Veganism, and he's one of those. I don't know. Maybe pioneers would be the right word or not. But yeah, he's one of those people who's just like genuinely good, very knowledgeable, and extremely nice and helpful. We had him over for the conference last year, and he came all the way to Manchester from London to give a talk about veganism. And he's going to do the same next weekend. So on Sunday, January 19th, he will be talking to us about intersectionality. Real quick introduction about intersectionality, and I think I'll just lead that with an example, and I'll let Jordi do the rest during his session. So intersectionality is, vegans are focused very much on our diets, for example. So, animal rights is core to how we think about social justice. But the way that Jordi describes it for vegans, and this was originally an idea that was classified, I believe, in the 1980s by Kimberly, who was a Black activist. But the way Jordi's going to explain it is, vegans should not just be focused on animal rights and their diets, but they should also be focused on climate and any form of oppression that subjugates any species living on this planet, be it animal or humans. So if that's something of interest to everyone, please tune in next week. We'll create a similar invite, send it, forward it to your local parties, friends, family, anybody's welcome to.
Yeah, I think I wasn't too sure what was happening, and actually this week I just didn't have a chance. But I'll hopefully after this call make a what's it called, Action Network invitation, which I think will be easier to forward on all of your local groups. So anybody locally, please, please, please invite them. Spread the word out on the on your local Green Party contacts. That'd be super. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a really, really interesting session, really enjoyable session. So I really appreciate your help. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Stop recording.